So I was curious how long it actually takes me to make each episode of my Webtoon Beneath the Camphor Tree, which you can read on Webtoon Canvas and Tapas. This episode in particular is a little longer than my usual 25 to 35 panel episodes, being 40 panels long, but I think it's a good representation of how long things usually take me. The first step to making an actual episode, other than scripting it, is to look over the script and storyboard the episode. This stage took me 55 minutes in total. The next step is to set up the files, so to speak, where I add panel folders in Clip Studio Paint. I'm using the EX version, as well as setting up the dialog bubbles. This stage took me 15 minutes to complete. After I've set up the file, I usually jump into backgrounds next because this episode is using entirely 3D backgrounds. This stage only took me 36 minutes to complete. However, backgrounds can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 to 5 hours, especially if there's more heavy-duty drawing involved or editing the images. I use backgrounds from Acon 3D, which is a website I really recommend for Webtoon backgrounds. After backgrounds, I jump into sketches. I utilize a lot of 3D models instead of doing under sketches for my sketch layer because it saves me a lot of time and, more importantly, energy. This episode's sketches took me 4 hours to complete, which I would say is pretty standard as this is the stage that takes the longest for me. Then I do the inks and flatting, which I do at the same time, and this took me about 2.5 hours to complete. I do the flat colors next, which took me 45 minutes to complete, and then I do the extras, as I call it, which is adding patterns to clothing, blushes to the characters, nose highlights, etc. Basically just embellishments that add character to the episode, and this took me another 45 minutes to complete. Then I shade and add more highlights, and this took me yet another 45 minutes to complete. Lastly, I do any finishing touches and make the end of episode chibi art, and this took me around 20 minutes to finish. In total, this episode took me just over 11 hours to finish, which is actually a lot faster than I thought it was going to take. I had this thought in my head that it took me like 20 hours to finish an episode, and it's pretty exciting that it only took me about 11. So that's kind of nice. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for future videos for me to make.